idiots and don't read them saying this. So then when they stage the attacks, they can grandstand as heroes, and we're like, but you said you'd stage them. But the point that I was getting to before we went to break, and then I got off into shrimp committing suicide, and here's the Salon magazine headline, breaking that down, Prozac makes shrimp commit suicide. Well, it's the same thing with humans. They now have to put on the inserts of those drugs that it increases suicide. It's funny how they give it to people who they claim are suicidal. And then when the suicide problem gets worse, their answer is, we'll put you on 3 or 4 of these drugs at once. These are drug-pushing companies. But I got into that just seeing the CBS News headline, sex turns off many young Japanese men. And they just think it's gross. The study shows they're pretty much just asexual. And that's what the bisphenol A that the Rockefeller Foundation publicly has written about, that we've done reports on and linked to. Just type in Rockefeller Foundation on chemicals in water to reduce fertility and sex drive, 1952, 1965. Rockefeller Foundation, vaccines to reduce fertility, covertly added to population. Or just type in White House science czar, current czar, talks about different things they like to add to the water to do it. See, this is all going on, but it's not manly to get upset about having your food and water jacked and your culture dying and the end of the West. No. That's not manly when you're being assaulted to actually be scientific, informed, and warning people. I'm just supposed to put on a big jersey, go to a bar, and eat a bunch of GMO stuff with fat all over it, soaked in MSG and get brain damage, and scream and yell and act tough. And then I would be a real man. Here it is, Rockefeller. In fact, you guys are pulling it up from Infowars.com, then just link to the foundation itself. But Rockefeller Foundation documents, sterilants and vaccines. Good job pulling that up. Rockefeller Foundation developed vaccines for mass-scale fertility reduction. And then you can link to the 1968 yearly report. That's just one of many. And then, of course, what's called for was done exactly. And I've seen the university reports where they laugh. They said, well, by 2020, most men won't even be able to get a woman pregnant, and most men won't want to. And, of course, I've shown you the Planned Parenthood doc where they talked about the chemicals in the food and water and from the 1950s. We can pull that up for folks maybe, where they say, we're going to encourage homosexuality and we're going to jack your food and water. And then, of course, they've had hundreds of publications attack me for republishing that. It's a straw man. They always just say, I'm bashing gay people and saying the government did it. It's not a discussion of what people are doing sexually. You understand? They say they did it to you. Does it mean that there weren't people doing this normally or naturally or whatever in 2,000 years ago or 500 years ago or whatever? No. The point is the frogs, the male frogs, think they're females now. That's not when I say that about a frog, I'm not bashing the gay frog, but the chemical got in the water. There's so much of it in our water, it runs off and makes him. In fact, it actually changes them in reproduction. They end up being hermaphrodites. In fact, people won't believe that. Look up lakes and streams, fish hermaphrodites, fish sterile, or frog sterile. I've seen reports of, in some rivers, 2/3 of fish sterile because of chemicals in water. See, I'm telling you about a poison. But here's CBS. Call Japan the incredible shrinking country. Fewer babies mean Japan's population could plunge by 30% in coming decades, and it already has. There are many reasons for this demographic freefall. For instance, Japan is all but closed to foreign immigrants. Yeah, but countries could always grow without immigrants. The United States had for every 2 people in 1900, you can look these numbers up, on average had about 4.5 children. That's the ones that lived. You know, the old families that they told you weren't trendy. And you know, all the shows, the programming of, oh, having kids is horrible. Oh, my gosh, you got kids. It's terrible. My wife even has, like, trendies come up and hiss at her at Whole Foods and say, you've got 3 kids. That's not good for the earth. I mean, there it is, sex-changing chemicals found in Potomac River. And that's National Geographic News, and it talks about the fish and the frogs and things being hermaphrodites or being sterilized. But again, I'm bashing the gay fish. Now, let's continue here. Propaganda everywhere. Almost every new cartoon, sitcoms, dramas, it's hellish to have children, hellish to be married. And again, this is being done. If it was your choice, normally that always happened. That's fine. We're not bashing single families here. The point is this modern culture is designed to wreck the family. That's why it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of it being horrible. Just like every action-adventure movie I see, I saw 2 in the last week, Law-Abiding Citizen and Source Code. But in both of these, right-wingers are terrorists, checkpoints are everywhere, SWAT teams are everywhere, and the right-wing guy in Source Code wants to nuke Chicago. It doesn't happen in reality, but it's a simulated reality. See, it's out of the propaganda that you know what they're going to do next. And I'm now digressing. But it goes on. There are many reasons for the demographic freefall. But young Japanese men are taking some of the blame for Japan's population decline. Studies show young males are apathetic about dating and disinterested in sex. Ladies and gentlemen, by the time I was 13 years old, well, I mean, I remember being, in first grade and the other boys were going, girls, ooh. And I just thought they were cute and sweet and wanted to be friends with them, And the same thing when I was 13 years old. I thought the college girls were the most beautiful thing on earth. And I just knew they smelled good, they looked good, and I never seen anything prettier than that. I mean, we're talking worship here. Now, thank God, despite the fluoride and bisphenol A and things, I still had enough of my olfactory nerves lined up. It's a lot of it's smell. My eyes were still queued up right. Everything was still, pointed in the right direction. And I'm fulfilled. I've got a wife. I've got children. It's wonderful. But we also understand that we're tribal, and it's us for the family against the New World Order. Families have always been about defending each other. And, hey, we may have problems, but remember, we're the only people in the world that care about each other and have got each other's backs. That's the oldest thing in human existence. Just like a mound of meerkats. Man, they all know each other's smell. They get in little squabbles, but they're on each other's teams. Honey badgers, wolves, coyotes, bears, otters, whales, rats, mice. This is what it is to be colony mammals. That's what we are. We're colony mammals that can change our destiny and have free will and can build spacecraft that go to foreign planets. And that gave you Mozart, Beethoven, Brahms, quantum mechanics, the full integrated predictive future program systems, as search engines, which are actually crystal ball integration systems to map human activity for over-the-horizon time prediction qualities. Humans can do incredible things. The globalists know that. They're scared of you. And so that's why society's collapsing. And when Nancy Pelosi comes out and says, it's good we're having abortions and less people, this will save money. How is 1.3 children to the average American? 2 people have averaged 1.3 children. How is that going to replace the society? Well, the globalists have said in Wired Magazine and other places that they plan on just setting up a world government and exterminating most people. So that's why they've got control of the West, and you see populations plunging. We'll come back with the Iran situation. Okay, and let me just finish up with Japan that signed on to the same globalist program. They drink the sodium fluoride, they take all the vaccines, and they warm up their microwave dinners in the little bisphenol A lined packaging, their soft drinks, their juice boxes. This is CBS News. Studies show young males are apathetic about dating and disinterested in sex. One college student says, I'm not the guy. In fact, for people watching on Prisonplanet.tv, not listening on the radio, show people the photo of these guys. These are not men. These are gelded, asexual drones that the UN said they would create when Julian Huxley set this program up. He was the first director general of UNESCO. You may have heard of his brother's book, Brave New World, who he went public about and said this is actually the plan to make you all asexual drones. Look at them, asexual drones. I mean, they don't even want to have sex with anything. This is what they've been turned into. That's what the globalists want. Continuing here, one college student says It's not that guys don't like women, but it's just easier and more fun to hang out with other guys. Another says, if you want a date, you have to ask the guy out for yourself. That's what a girl says. Once a male chauvinist paradise, Japan is suddenly the home of assertive women. Oh, yeah, under Hitler, it was first you get the women, then you've got the children, so follow the men. Once a male chauvinist paradise, Japan is suddenly the home of assertive women and so-called grass feeder men, sensitive, even asexual creatures overshadowed by their female peers. I can't tell you about all the documents we've shown you here on air where they said they do this, and they are trying to jack the food, the water, most of the toilet paper has bisphenol A mixed in with it. It's kind of like aspartame. We started exposing it in the last few decades, so most people stopped drinking it in soft drinks. So they just put it in now over 10,000 products. It's in all the sugar gums. It's in most of the chocolates. You think, well, this is sugar chocolate. Read the label. Read the label of the juicy fruit, the big red, the wintergreen. Read it. Read it. The candy mints, the breads, the TV dinners. You think you're eating a TV dinner with a Salisbury steak and some potatoes? It's got aspartame in it. Highly addictive, breaks down into wood alcohol. Because you know why? Wood alcohol is hellishly addictive. You think regular alcohol is addictive? Wood alcohol is addictive. There's probably nothing more addictive than arsenic. You know, there's big problems going back hundreds of years with arsenic addicts. But I digress with science here. The point is that these food additives are really drugs, many of them. You know, this all predates even regulation when they're all grandfathered. Did you know that all the major fast food chains, you can pull this up, pull it up. Chicken McNuggets has, people won't believe it. Chicken McNuggets, it'll be CNN, AP, Reuters from like 5 years ago. Chicken McNuggets has silicone in it. Now, you think some silicone in a woman's breast breaking out's bad, and it gives them cancer, leukemia, all this stuff, proven. Just a little bit leaking. But hey, why not eat it? Why wonder why the kidney failure is happening? Why even wonder? I mean, remember in China 3 years ago, they executed a bunch of top factory owners because they were putting bisphenol A in the milk products and in the cheeses because it could fool the testing they were putting in to get around fake milk, powdered milk. Yeah, there it is. All McNuggets not created equal, and it's a CNN article, as you can see there, about the silicone. But it sure makes them fluffy and puff up and have that special taste. See, poisons are addictive, but I'm digressing. If the government says it's okay, I mean, they care about you. And I'm the extremist. I should be a good dad, pull over, get a big old, fried chicken from any of these big chains. And I should just take my son in, put the ball game on, and go, here you go, son. You'll be lucky if you don't have kidney failure. They also contain dimethyl polysoloxine, an anti-foaming agent, also used in silly putty. That's another one. Then they've got the silicone, pull that back up, it's so small I'm having trouble reading it. I just want to give it, this is CNN. But again, they tell you, they don't remove it. That is the tertiary beta-hydrone quinonion. Is that correct? Did I get that right? I mean, come on, I'm an extremist, I'm a weirdo. Again, I talk to people on the street, or sometimes I get drug out to some family dinner with some friends or something, and they're like, I like your show, but do you really believe all this stuff you say? Gee, I'm the only show I know that everything I say I document. I mean, everything I've been saying here, from the Rockefeller Foundation and sterilants and vaccines and cancer viruses and vaccines, I put it on screen. I mean, I can say right now, United States has the highest cancer rate in the world, up on average over 2,000%, depending on the type. You could type that into a search engine and get World Health Organization